Benny. Oh. Yeah, he's not coming back. So I think it's heavily implied that Nick Nolte killed Benny the janitor. I think he's fucking dead. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. Oh, Lord, chat. But like I said before, we got to get in the nitty-gritty details for today, chat. I'm doing a scene-by-scene breakdown for Ang Lee's Hulk, followed by Batman the Animated Series, Episode 34, Cat Scratch Fever, spoiler review for that, and then gameplay chat of Guardians of the Galaxy, and maybe some Halo multiplayer, if it's fucking working, who knows. It is 343, and they are super hit and miss, mostly miss of the Halo franchise last few years, so we'll find out. We'll find out. Do we have to? Yes! Oh, my Lord. It is what it is, folks. Summers. There you go. There you go, chat. Summer baby. Hi, sir, baby. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. We're just about to jump into my review of Ang Lee's Hulk, chat. And I got a lot to say about this film. But first, before I start, talking about it, sharing my opinion on the movie, chat, how I first saw this, under what context and setting I saw this movie, I have to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Ang Lee's 2003 superhero film, Hulk? Based on the Marvel character. Created by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. You know, chat, you know. This movie, generally saying, it's fucking weird. I'm kind of shocked it was made. It's been working perfectly for me. I haven't heard of anybody having issues on consoles yet. Oh, that's good. That's good, Soldier Blue. Nice. Perfect. I'm glad to hear that. So 2003 at the theater, as did I. Watching this USA Today, tons of it was always Hulk 2003 was always on USA or like FX. It was on those two all the time. They had those two fucking announcers on FX talking about the movie. It's like all the time. Brando, yes, sadly, I've seen this Hulk. Branch is my aunt. Bigger say bad chills. My aunt loves this version of Hulk. Interesting. Casfay, nope, want to, but my dad knew it would suck and didn't take me to the theater. That's a good fucking dad, right? That's a good father. Billy said, I've seen it. Lakota, I read the script. You've read all these goddamn scripts. Well, I've nerd have seen it once when it was newish. Boring. Yeah. And Berserker couldn't get through it. I found it boring. That's the consistent thing, people. It is. It's fucking boring. There's not a lot to it, honestly, chat. Not a lot to it. Despite being such a film that spends so much time talking about emotions and talking about the idea of feelings and pontificating and philosophizing, very little just actual character development, interesting characters or discussions. And then the action scenes, they're in there, but they're few and far between, and they're not great. I mean, maybe you can argue the tank scene was fun, but other than that, some unintentionally funny moments, I imagine. We'll talk about, chat. The on-screen combat was very strange. I'm making a comic movie. It needs to be a comic book. That's what Ang Lee's whole thing. We'll talk about that. Bad Boy Hulk, the people say the other movie was better. Honestly, both Hulk movies are bad. Ang Lee's Hulk movie almost feels like he wanted to sabotage so no one would make him do another super. He fucking did it. He nailed it. Mission accomplished. God, I saw this in theaters, and even being 12, I was disgusted. I remember just being bored. I think I was like 13, or I think I was the same age as you, Duck and Henry. I think we were the same age, Stefan, so I think I saw this like around 12 or 13. I'm like, just what the fuck is boring? So boring. So yes, I believe in the theaters. I must agree that it is very weird. Oh, believe in theater. You saw it in the theaters. Gotcha. Boss, I haven't. I also recommend the Hershey's Green Milk that it was coincided with. I didn't know about that. Wow. Crusaders I saw when it came out on DVD, so I would have been 6. Baby boy. I watched it a bunch of times and thought I loved it, but now I realize that I was either drifting off or playing Game Boy during all the scenes where he wasn't Hulk, as I imagine many other people were. Many little boys and girls. I've seen this. Remember being bored on my damn mind. I like the consistency here, Ch. I like the consistency. Confusing as Hulk. It is confusing. Yep. It's like what's happening. You gotta like kind of. You gotta like maybe watch it a couple times. And be like, wait, what's really happening? Or have someone explain it to you. Agreed. Put on the trip. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Actually, I've not. I was mad Edward Norton wasn't in it and thought the previews looked shitty. That's right. This is before Edward Norton. Before he played Hulk, Incredible Hulk. Deadpool, I've seen it. Sad Hulk is sad. Sad Hulk is really fucking sad. So on FX, there you go. Trailer was good enough. It's boring minus a few good scenes. Well, actually, I saw Hulk 2003. I was in my late 20s. I can forgive a bad Hulk movie, but a boring Hulk movie, unforgivable. Agreed. I blend both Hulk movies together. That's interesting. Because I know some people who do the same thing, so maybe they confuse both. Actually, it happened today. I think Newsy Ducky it was like, which Hulk movie is this? I actually like The Incredible Hulk of Edward Norton. It's not the best comic book movie. It's not the best MC movie. I enjoyed it. I liked Edward Norton as the Hulk. I liked the initial setting when he was in South America. It almost felt like Universal was okay. We're kind of. It's like I felt like they were trying to cover their bases because the Ang Lee's Hulk ends with him in South America, I want to say. And then the Incredible Hulk starts in South America. It's almost like they were trying to trick the audience that this was a sequel, just had a different actor, but now it's a part of the MCU. I'd wondered that for years, but very much they are not the same. It's not the same Hulk, chat. They're separate. They're separate. They're in their own things, their own universes, if you will. Although, who knows, chat? We might get Ang Lee's Hulk in the MCU. I mean, it's a possibility. All Marvel movies are now a part of the MCU, chat. Now that we've entered into the multiverse, as you know, which is fucking nuts when you think about that. So that's a possibility. But they are separate. But I actually liked Ang Lee's Hulk. I liked Edward Norton. I even like his kind of darker version where he tried to commit suicide in the beginning of the film. I thought that was really interesting. I think my problem with the movie, it's just the CGI was kind of wonky throughout it, and Hulk was inconsistent in size throughout, as he is inconsistent here too. Although they kind of explain that where as he gets angry, he gets bigger, which is from the comics. That is a thing. But in Incredible Hulk, that was he just was different sizes at different times. They didn't make no explanation as to that. And I like the Abomination. I like Tim Roth, but I just felt the Abomination. Well, he's a big green guy that Hulk punches. That's kind of all there is to him. But I like the movie. To me, it's like a high matinee. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking it. Now, Ang Lee's Hulk, on the other hand, chat, as all of you have said, every single one of you have said, boring, for those of you who have seen it, or you've heard that it's boring. And it is. It's a fucking boring movie, chat. Now in hindsight, we all realize, Ang Lee was a really weird choice. Now, at the time, I could kind of understand why Universal, and I think, didn't Avi Arad produce this, didn't he? Did he produce this? Did you produce this, Avi Arad? Yep, it's him. I can understand why they went with Ang Lee, because a few years prior to this, he had made, one of the most popular kung fu action films of all time, chat, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But everyone's like, oh, this is your guy. This is your guy to make an action movie, make a superhero film? Hell yeah, look, he's playing around with, mythology and shit. Chinese mythology, make an action movie. Yes, this is the person we want. The thing is, before he did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, he was more known for his dramatic work, as he is now. When you think of, some of his more recent films, like Life of Pi, or like Brokeback Mountain, that's more what he's done throughout his career, and some other smaller movies. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is kind of like an anomaly in his filmography. But, Hollywood, they were like, nope, we're going to do the hottest thing. All the critics love him. Fans love him. Movie made a lot of fucking money. Comic book films, they're trending. People are talking about him. Just had Blade. You also got to set the let's, roll in the clacks back chat. You had Blade that had come out in the late 90s. You had X-Men. You had Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Daredevil was already on the horizon, chat. So, superhero films, of course you got to go Hulk. Hulk was already in the pop culture zeitgeist, thanks to the very popular show starring Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, chat. And so I was like, okay, you understand why they go with the Hulk, and you go with the guy that everyone's talking about. It's on the lips of every critic, every fan, movie fan out there, even some audiences who that was their kind of introduction to Ang Lee. And so I understood why they went with it. But Ang Lee had no knowledge of comic books. He famously said, I don't know. It wasn't a thing that he grew up with or was knowledgeable about. He studied them, and I feel like he did it almost too much. He's like, I literally want to make a live action comic book to the point where I want to actually bring in the comic book panels. And that's one of the weird things in this movie. Yes, it's boring, but he does this. The editing in this movie and the transitions are awful, and they're confusing. and they kind of make you nauseous yet, where you have panels coming in, you have panels within panels, and people talking to each other within panels that are on the right and the left, and they're looking in different directions and shit. There's weird fungi, there's desert cacti in panels. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, I'm confused, and I'm a little nauseous. And that is throughout the entire fucking film. And it's really annoying, and it just pads out the runtime. This movie's over 2 hours long, and it does not mean you can make a 2+ hour Hulk film. There's plenty of material, Chad. The Hulk is, he's one of Marvel's greatest characters, Chad. He's kind of like their modern day. He's their interpretation of Frankenstein's monster. This guy who is irradiated with gamma rays, Chad, unable to control himself when he gets angry. Despite his strength and his rage, like you could tell, like Hulk doesn't want to do these things, but everyone looks at him as a monster, so he has to do these things, and you feel bad for Banner. So it kind of has that. It's like a mixture of Frankenstein and the Wolfman, Chad, combined. And you feel sympathy, you empathize with the character, and there's a lot there. There's a lot there. There's a cool pantheon of villains, Chad. From the Abomination to the leader, Absorbing Man, which the Absorbing Man is in the movie, not the way you probably want him, Chad, but he is in there. So there's a lot to play around with Hulk. His relationship with Betty Ross, and Ang Lee, he just seemed more focused on the idea of just literally taking the pages, the panels, and putting them to the screen, and also bringing in daddy issues, which I can't really remember in the Hulk comics. I don't think Bruce talks about his family. If he does, I don't know. I should say that. Like, if he does bring up his family and his parents, I'm unaware of that. But here, that's what this movie's about. It's about daddy issues, both Bruce's daddy issues, Jennifer Connelly, who plays Betty Ross's, her daddy issues, and that's what the movie is about. And the thing is, like, okay, we're gonna have this resentment towards the father, towards your parents, paternal figures. That's where your rage comes from. Let's get into that. And when they do, it's just fucking boring, because none of these characters, they're so emotionless, so deadpan. And years later, I've actually appreciate the candor of Eric Bana, because he talked about the film years after it come out, which all actors do. If you're in a bad super film, you're like, yeah, it was awful. And he said, like, he was really excited to play this character. He was a Hulk fan. His kids want him to be the Hulk, be Bruce Banner. And he said that Ang Lee consistently said to downplay everything. Everyone downplay. Yeah, he famously, Ang Lee said multiple times when they're making the movie, I'm making a Greek tragedy, not a comic book movie. Even though he has all the panels he has the aesthetics of a comic book film, but in no way the fun of one. He making a Greek tragedy, and he's like, yeah, it was just. He said it was not a fun production. He said it was frustrating. Most of the time he was not on set because he was doing green screen stuff. And that was before, like, the motion capture, be able to have the actors there and have, communicate with them and have those scenes. And he didn't have that. And so he found it very frustrating. And I don't blame him. I don't blame Jennifer Connelly or Sam Elliott or Nick Nolte's doing his own thing. Like, the only character I will say, the only fun part of this movie is Nick Nolte as David Banner, I guess. I guess that's the dad. It doesn't matter. He's Nick Nolte. But he is so fucking out of his mind. I think Ang Lee he's like, no, everyone's got to play a deadpan. Nick Nolte said, fuck that. Nick Nolte does his own thing. It's like, stop, what? And he's like, all right, I'm backing off. I think he would just turn the camera on when Nick Nolte was just losing his mind. He had drank too much. He had done too many drugs. And he's like, we're just going to use some of this for the film. He is the best thing about this movie. I'm not even being facetious. Like, when he pops onto the screen, it's like, oh my God, it's a breath. He's not in the movie nearly enough. I think he has maybe 10 minutes of screen time. But when he's in the movie, it's very entertaining because he's so fucking weird. How he talks to people. And just, like, coming up on people and his fucking dogs. It is great. He is legitimately really good and really fun in the movie. As the Absorbing Man and as Bruce Banner's dad. Spoiler, it's his dad, chat. Other than that, everything else about it just fucking sucks. It's not a good movie. It's fucking boring. It's a waste of your goddamn time, chat. But it'll make for a fun review and potentially, Chad, an audio-video commentary in the future. Also, when the movie came out, yes, same complaints that we were all saying. Audiences thought it was boring. Critics thought it was boring. Had a budget of $137 million. I'm like, what are we fucking spending all the money on? Were those fucking CGI poodles that expensive? Those CGI, I guess so. I guess they spent a shit ton of money, or they made a shot on location. There's a lot of locations in this movie. I mean, we're in different states and things. It doesn't matter. We're in the desert, San Francisco, which I imagine was a huge fucking expense to film there. That probably cost $1 million, like an hour. Yeah, a lot of shooting locations. And the box office was not great. Had a box office about $245.4 million. And so they didn't even really break even on the movie. So I was like, ugh. So they didn't do great. They didn't do great with this film. Then they rebooted it years later with the Incredible Hulk chat. And now, we're at this point with, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and we got She-Hulk on the horizon, which I'm looking forward to, chat. So I wish we could get another Hulk movie. I would love a proper Planet Hulk, World War Hulk kind of storyline. I think that'd be really cool, and to see Mark Ruffalo take that on. But I am excited to see Hulk back on television, funny enough, with She-Hulk, with Tatiana Maslany playing Jennifer Walters. So it is bright. The Hulk's future is bright, and I've really enjoyed what Marvel has done with him recently and evolving into Professor Hulk. I think that's fun for me. But now, my friends, chat, let's go ahead and get into the details. We start with Comic Sans, chat. The movie starts with a lot of things being thrown at you, chat. A lot of clip art, a lot of JPEGs, a lot of GIFs of lizards eating flies, and people putting syringes inside of lizards and then putting them in cacti and it growing, chat. And Nick Nolte going, "Rah!" Nick Nolte just randomly never give Nick Nolte a syringe, chat. I don't know who would ever fucking do that. He's going to stick himself with it or stick someone else with it. But he's just going to town, sticking syringes, chat, in lizards, in cacti, in mold. I don't need it. Thank you very much. And just the comic, because it's a comic book movie, so we're going to have Comic Sans text just fly at the screen, and you see Ainsley's name, it's like, whoa! And then you see a panel within a panel of Eric Banda's name just coming at you and breaking apart and turning to molecules and turning into a lizard. It's like, okay, there's a lot going on here. There's nuclear explosions going off, chat. The world itself is being made. The universe is being made within this opening credit sequence, chat, along with Comic Sans. It's a lot. But we then transition from that, chat, to a baby. We transition to, now actually, we see like a baby and it's being made inside of a womb, chat. And we see a young Nick Nolte talking with his wife in the kitchen. It's like the 1970s, chat. It feels that way. He's wearing like flannel and stuff. And the wife, I'm like, I don't know who would marry Nick Nolte, but she made her choice, chat. She's made her bed, literally. And she turns to Nick Nolte and she goes, "I'm pregnant." He's like, "Ah!" And then we transition from that to a nuclear countdown, chat, because Nick Nolte knows about the baby and everything, and the baby, little Bruce Banner, is not, I guess that's his name, the game, Bruce Banner. He's born, chat. But Nick Nolte, he's doing all sorts of experiments on little Bruce Banner. We cut to like nuclear explosions and growth. And then one day, he goes to a young Sam Elliott, we don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We have no idea what's being discussed, but they know that Nick Nolte is very mad, like he is most of the time, chat. And then he goes to an underground facility where he's fucking flipping switches and shit, doing all that. And apparently he's going to set off a nuclear weapon and stuff. He runs home where we see a very, very angry little baby Bruce. Like he has like a dinosaur and going, "Ah!" He's just fucking, wailing it on the floor. And then Nick Nolte comes in, and he's like, "I need to talk to you." And he wants to talk to his wife. She's like, "What's going on?" And they go into the bedroom, chat, where he's fucking, what he's doing. He's slapping her around, chat, and everything. And Bruce is just, he's just looking. He's slamming the little T-Rex in the ground. Mom comes out, and she's like, "Oh!" And she, like, runs out the goddamn door, and mushroom cloud. What the hell happened? What the hell is going on? It doesn't matter, chat, because then we cut to a teenage Eric Bana, chat, who now goes by the name. He's not Bruce Banner. His name is like Bruce Keegler or something. And I'm like, I'm going to call him Eric Bana for the sake of convenience, chat, because he doesn't know. And he's being raised by foster parents, chat, and he just woke up because he had a really intense fucking wet dream. He's like, it's like, you must have been pulling a little too hard, man. You injured yourself. Mom comes in. It's like, "Bruce, are you okay?" He's sweating everywhere. And he's like, "I had a bad dream, Mom. I imagine Nick Nolte attacked my real mom and there was lizards and Fun Guy and Comic Sans, a shit ton of Comic Sans, and she says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. See, it's okay. You just go ahead and go back to sleep. And then we cut again. And we see a slightly older version of young Eric Bana, and he's like moving out to go to college and stuff, and he's scared about it. But then as his foster mom sits down, she goes, listen, Bruce, see, I think that there's something good in you. You have so much to show this world, but you just got to let it out. You just got to let all of that thickness out there to show the world. And he's like, if you say so, Mom. And then we immediately cut again, and we're cutting from... There's a lot. We're covering a lot in a short amount of time, chat. And then we see proper Eric Bana. We see a Nolte nightmare. He was having a Nolte nightmare, which happens. We see proper Eric Bana, and he's going to work, Chad. He works at some, I don't know, radiation company. I think they're working on microwaves to blow up frogs. But he's walking in, Chad, and we see our first cameo of the movie. We see Stan Lee, Chad, Excelsior, talking to Lou Ferrigno, Chad. And Stan Lee, he's adamant about, like, we got to check the security systems. Lou Ferrigno's like, okay. And they walk off screen. That's it. Eventually, he goes inside, and where Eric Bana consistently has absolutely no chemistry with any of the other actors, Chad. I mean, no one has chemistry with each other because they're all talking like this, and he has, like, his friend come in, this nerdy guy who he saves at one point in the movie, and he's like, hey, Bruce, are you really excited to test the gamma reactor today? Boy, I'm really excited. We're going to see if it works. Hopefully it won't kill the frog. Man, if that frog dies, it'll just kill me. Let's go inside. And then he meets with his girlfriend, Betty Ross, Chad, played by Jennifer Connelly. And if you thought Eric Bana was down, if you thought he was downplaying his performance, wait until Jennifer comes on screen, because it's like, are these two in love? Are they supposed to, like, they've been together for years. We're told they've been together for years. They met in college. They're part of this company now. It's their big project, and there is no fucking passion between them, chat. There's nothing. Even when they're, like, joking, it's like, wait, were they joking? Are they flirting? You don't know. You just don't fucking know. It's like I can only imagine it, chat. It's the equivalent of two snails mating. It's like you assume that there's intimacy between them, that there's maybe they're having sex. I don't know, because there's nothing happening across their face. It's just a blank slate. There's nothing there. They blink, they're breathing, but I don't know. I don't know if there's anything actually behind the facade, chat. They could be. They're like hollow creatures in this film. But, you know, they attempt to flirt, and they're like, hey, let's work on the microwave gamma ray. And so they've been testing it on frogs, which is like, that's kind of cool. And so they put, like, a frog inside of the gamma ray machine, and they just fucking zap it with a whole bunch of gamma rays, Chad. And the frog's like, I don't feel very good. And then it just starts, like, forming all these. It's actually kind of horrifying. It's forming, like, all these tumors on its body until it just explodes. And I was like, that felt, like, really real. Like, did they actually microwave a frog on set? Because that thing just fucking pops. And you would think, you would go, oh, God, you need a reaction. You got to sell me how horrific that is. And so you can imagine, like, what that would do to a human being. It's like, ooh, it's so terrifying. But they're like, oh, no, it happened again. So I feel like they're just dead inside. They've killed so many fucking frogs at this point with their microwave, the gamma ray microwave, that they are just dead. There's nothing to them, Chet. They're husks. And so then they finish their little microwave frog session, and Eric Bana jokes. He's like, well, if the government is interested in a microwave that kills frogs, we should contact them. She goes, yeah, that'd be good. They would like that. And it's like, is this a conversation? Is this improv? This lines in the script. It's like, okay. They are nihilists to the end. Nothing matters. We're all going to die. We're just like that frog. We're going to be filled with tumors, and we're going to explode. That's the best we can fucking hope for. But it's like, Jesus Christ. That's why I'm happy that we get, like, super over-exaggerated characters in the movie. Because, again, Eric Bana, Jennifer Connelly, they're like they are alive, but they barely have a pulse yet, but they're like at a 1 or a 2 in this movie. Thank God we get the introduction of Jennifer Connelly's douchebag boyfriend who works for some like Blackwater organization. I guess he works for the government as a government contract. He's a weapon developer, and we're just gonna call him douche. I think his name is Glenn. Douchebag Glenn, chap. He comes in, he's waiting because he wants to talk to Jennifer. He's like, "Hey Jennifer, how you doing?" "I'm okay, Glenn. How are you?" He's like, "Hey, listen, I know about your microwave frog killing machine." It's fucking great. I love it. It's funny. So funny. Listen, I want to use that as a weapon to use on the enemies of America. How about it? How about I just give you tens of millions of dollars? We weaponize this with your boyfriend. How's Bruce? How's Mr. Personality doing? Won't that be great? And she's like, "We don't want to make weapons, okay? We want to help people." Why do you want to? What's gamma radiation being used for? That's like, we're helping people, but it clearly can cause people to explode. I don't know about that, but I appreciate douchebag Glenn because at least he's bringing me something. It's like, okay, you have a personality, I can gravitate towards you. And Eric Bana is in the background. He's literally just on the side of the glass, like looking like a fucking puppy at them talking. And Glenn is just on top of Jennifer Connelly, Chad. He's putting his arm on her. He's touching her hair because, that's what you do. That's like, yeah, this guy respects no boundaries. Now, if I was Eric Bana, I'd be like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? And fucking Jennifer Connelly's just standing there passive. And, you have Glenn just going, "Hey, Bruce, how you doing, bud? Listen, just talking to my ex. Sally, my ex, you're a lucky man. But hey, if you lose her, good old Glenn is waiting in the wings, He's talking about your microwave frog machine killer. That's like I really want to use. The government wants to use to kill them infidel frogs. It'll be real good. Got to protect America from the terrorizers. Just like my man, George W. It's George W. Bush. It'll be great." And he's like, "It's not meant as a weapon. We're here to help people." He's like, "Okay, that's cute. That's really cute. Listen, here's my card. If you want to talk to me, all right, I'm going to go chat with your dad. I'm going to chat with your dad. Sam Elliott, he's in the movie. He doesn't do anything. That'd be cool. Like, I think the casting is really great for Sam Elliott, Thunderbolt Ross, but they give him fucking nothing to do. Nothing to do in this movie. He just sits down awkwardly and tries to communicate with Jennifer Connelly, and it's the worst. But then douchebag Glenn, he leaves, and everyone's going home for the night chat. But then we finally, thank God, before everyone leaves for the night, we see Nick fucking Nolte, chat. And and someone spots him. And he's like mopping. He's like randomly just mopping the hallway, just looking at people. And like Jennifer Connelly, she's going home and she spots Nick Nolte. He's hard to fucking miss because he looks like a homeless man. And she goes, "Excuse me, sir. What happened to Benny?" Because Benny is like the janitor, chat. And Nick Nolte, he waits like a fucking bee. He's like, "Benny. Oh. Yeah, he's not coming back." So I think it's heavily implied that Nick Nolte killed Benny the janitor. I think he's fucking dead. "Yeah, I'm the new guy. I'm Dave." And he goes, "All right, well, nice to meet you, Dave. Yeah. Have a good night." She walks away. And then he like gets onto a computer and just starts hacking and shit. Like, I'm like, okay, first of all, I'll believe that Eric Bana will turn into a giant, jolly green, rage-filled giant before I'll believe Nick Nolte can hack into a fucking computer. But okay, that's what we're told. And so he hacks into the computer. Looking for information, looking for information on the project that Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly are working on, but also looking at information about Eric Bana himself. What's this connection, chat? What's going on? We then cut to Eric Bana at home, and we get like a weird transition here. Where, and by the way, everything's comic book panels at this point. They're all popping up randomly on the screen and everything, and it's chaotic and it's nonsensical. But then we're at home with Eric Bana, and he is looking at a picture actually of nothing of himself, which is weird. And then Jennifer Connelly walks into the picture. It's like, whoa! It's like remember in Harry Potter where they have those pictures where everyone's like moving in the picture, and you can walk out of the frames and there are like other pictures. It's like that. So I think Aiden Lee had just saw like The Prisoner of Azkaban or The Chamber of Secrets and goes, "I want to use that for my movie." And he, for whatever reason, there's people walking in and out of pictures that people are holding. And then we go inside of the picture where we we're hearing the conversation between Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly within the picture itself. It's fucking nuts. And then we get into some weird shit already. If you thought it was already weird, Joe, just wait. Because Jennifer Connelly's kind of being like, she's like looking down, like she's being more unhuman than usual. I mean, more than she already is, chat. And Eric Bana notices this behavior. He goes, "What is wrong, Jennifer?" And she's like, "I've had those dreams. I've had those dreams. The dreams where you've been having since we first met." And she goes, "Yeah, it happened again. Tell me about that dream, Jennifer." "It starts out the same way it always does. I'm with my dad, Sam Elliott. I'm a little girl. We're on the army base in the middle of the fucking desert having ice cream." And then a nuclear explosion goes off. And he runs out of the ice cream shop to see what happened. And he's talking with the army man. And then the ice cream shop attendant cashier comes over to me. He picks me up. And it's you. And then you fucking strangle me to death. And it's like, whoa. This is a Hulk movie. Yay, the Hulk. I'm like, wow. Okay. And he's like, Do you still love me?" She goes, "Yes, it is only a dream." And then we come out of the picture with Eric Bana remembering that. Fucking weird. It's like, okay. Artsy stuff. It's some snuff shit. It's like little girl me is being choked by the ice cream man who is you. Daddy issues, I suppose. I don't fucking know. Ever since they met, she says, "I've been having this recurring dream of you as a murderous ice cream man who strangles me at the end and kills me." And I guess you can interpret it, like she senses that he has the Hulk shit inside of him and that he's dangerous, and that because he is the Hulk, or soon to be the Hulk, that he will hurt her. You're just like, is that what? I guess that's what Ainley is saying, but it's so over the top and ridiculous and so artsy. You just don't give a shit because it's just dumb. It's just something you could have handled that in a much better way, but Ainley chose not to. He chose to go into a picture like Harry Potter, have a flashback within the picture, and have Jennifer Connelly picture Eric Bana about her having a dream where he's a murderous ice cream man that strangles him. It's like, who thought of this? Who thought of this, chat? It's fucking nuts. We then get out of that because Eric Bana, he senses something, chat, and he goes to his window. And so this is not picture Eric Bana. This is regular Eric Bana at this point. He goes to his window and drops the shades where Nick Nolte is standing outside of his window with his dogs, chat. The pit bull, I think like the Rottweiler and the French poodle. And they're just standing out there in the middle of the lawn just looking at him. And he's like, and he stares at him for a beat, and he closed the blinds. He's like, I just fucking see Nick Nolte with 3 dogs just in the middle of my fucking front lawn. He opens them again, and they're gone. It's like, okay, sure. So Nick Nolte is stalking Bruce Banner at this point. You assume, and just randomly, like, not being subtle about it in any capacity, Chet, in any capacity. Eventually, it's the next day. And Eric Bana has a good feeling about today, Chet, about the frog machine. He is like, you know what? I think our gamma ray frog microwave is gonna work this time. Everyone's like, yeah, you think so? Why? He goes, I just have a feeling. And it's like, okay, good. One of his nerdy friends who you don't care about, he's working on the machine, Chet. But I think it maybe like Nick Nolte might have like sabotage. I guess it's implied that he sabotaged the machine. That's why it starts to go all haywire and funky. I think that's the reason, because he wants to activate the machine to then imbue, Bruce Banner with the gamma rays. So then his true form is revealed to the world. That's what because he experimented as a kid all those years ago. I assume. I think that's what's happening. It doesn't fucking matter. No, it doesn't matter. And so the machine starts going all wonky, chat, and the friend's like, oh, God, I don't know what to do. Like, he starts fumbling, he starts tripping over his goddamn feet, and then Eric Bana grabs his friend and, like, pushes him away and tells him to put this mask on, and then Eric Bana then just stands in front of the microwave and takes all of the gamma frog microwave rays into his body, chat, and everything goes monochromatic and, like, and then it cuts, and he's in the hospital. And, like, you think, oh, here it's going to be the scene where he gets infused with all the gamma rays. He's going to turn to the Hulk. He's going to Hulk out and starts destroying the science facility. That would be a really cool thing to do. It's like, whoa, it's just utter chaos. And he sacrifices himself to save his friend, Chad. It's like, wow, that'd be a good way to do it. No. Cut to monochromatic, cut to a hospital. He's in the bed. Jennifer Connelly comes up to him. She goes, are you okay? You were hit with a lot of gamma radiation. I'm fine. I feel great. There are no problems. Okay, I'm going to go. And so she leaves. She fucking leaves, Chad. It's like, okay. And he stays at the hospital. He stays at the hospital, chat. And he's in and out of sleep. He's having bad dreams until he finally wakes up because he hears the and it's Nick Nolte. Somehow Nick Nolte has snuck into the hospital, chat, with his 3 dogs. And he's like, how are you doing? He's like, who the fuck are you? I killed Benny. I replaced Benny. I'm the new janitor. I want to make sure you're doing okay. He's like, all right, I'm fine. Do you need something from me? He's like, your name is not Bruce Kriegler. You're my son. And he's like, whoa, big fucking reveal. That Nick Nolte is, because Bruce Banner didn't know this. You know, he doesn't go by the name Bruce Banner. He goes by the name like Bruce Keegler or something. And it's like, your real name is Bruce Banner. I'm your dad. These are my dogs. I just got out of prison. All right? I gotta tell you some stuff. All right? You were just infused with a lot of gamma radiation. Ugh. And you're still alive. It's impossible for that to happen. But I'm here to help you, son. Let me help you. He's like, get out of here, Dad. I hate you. You weren't there for me when I was a kid. I don't know who you are. He's like, and he leaves. And he fucking leaves. He's like, all right, I'll see you later. And he goes home. Eventually, we then cut to, after that fucking scene, we're like, wow. We then cut to Jennifer Connelly. And she gets a call from her dad because her dad is concerned about the project that she's working on, chat. And again, the casting of Sam, Bloodsucking Games, welcome to the stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. The casting of Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross is fucking great. It's like, oh, wow, of course. He'll be great. He'll be a wonderful villain, frenemy for many Hulk movies to come to Bruce Banner, the heroes. And they underuse him. They underuse him in this scene. Because this movie's about daddy issues, and Jennifer Connelly hasn't talked to her father like in years because he's in the military, and the military is very, very, very bad. And so they go to a restaurant where they have a really awkward, soft-spoken conversation. Where is I want to talk to you about your boyfriend. I don't like him. I don't like this gamma microwave frog machine that you made, and I work with Glenn. He's a good boy. I like Glenn. He's a good boy. He's good people. She's like, I don't like Glenn. He's a douchebag. He's like, listen, we want to weaponize the machine. However, your boyfriend, I hate to say it, your boyfriend, he got irradiated, and we want to observe him. We have some concerns. And she's like, I'm not going to talk anymore. Bye. And she leaves. And that's it. That's all that happens. And okay, next scene. We then cut to Bruce, who gets out of the hospital. But he's just like, he's mad. He's mad because he's thinking about his dad, Nick Nolte chap, who revealed that was his dad. And he's like, I didn't think my dad would look that way. He's mad about the frog microwave not working. He goes back to the office chat, and he's just trying to get the machine to work right. Steph, welcome to the stream, and thank you for the 100 biddies. Good to see you. Talking about Eric Bana getting mad at Nick Nolte and everything else in the world. But thank you so much for the generosity. Hope you're doing very well today. But he goes to the office, and he's just like looking at notes in the screen, and he just starts getting pissed off. And this is when he starts transforming the Hulk. At this point, chat, we are 45 minutes into the movie. We're 45, there's not been a single Hulk scene. If you're making a Hulk movie, in the first 40 minutes, you should have several Hulk scenes already. You're like, yeah, give me that Bruce Banner shit, give me that character development, but we need Hulk scenes. We have not gotten one for nearly a fucking hour. And the movie's called Hulk and nothing. But now he's transforming, chat, into the Hulk. And Nick Nolte, again, he's the janitor, so he's like, I'm going to watch you. And so he watches as Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk. And, you know, and then the Hulk presents himself, not in a sexual way, in front of Nick Nolte. Like, ugh. And, you know, back in the day, I'm sure, like, oh, the graphics for this were good. It's like, ugh, seeing it again recently, oh, my God, it looks bad. Very smooth. Like, no textures at all in his body. He looks like Play-Doh to me. He's got, like, what if you just took Hulk, but put, like, a thin layer of really green Play-Doh on him? And it looks awkward. When he walks out, he's like smashing in the stuff. And the thing is, he's constantly like being hid in the scene. There's a lot of shadow. This movie's unnaturally dark for some of the fight scenes here. But this is the big one where they're hiding the Hulk. He presents himself in front of Nick Nolte. And we get a face that I'm sure a woman has seen Nick Nolte do. But we did not need to see this face, chat. We did not need to see Nick Nolte's O face. And he's like reaching his hand out to his son, just, oh, you're beautiful. And then Hulk's like, ugh, as you would freak out too, Chad. You would freak out the Hulk. And he then jumps through the fucking roof and then jumps away, Chad. And you're like, oh, we're now going to see all the destruction. Was you want to fuck his son? I guess so. He wants the power. Give me the power that's inside of you. You don't need it. You don't know how to use it. I do. I've craved power my whole life. That's where he goes off in the ending. Oh, stop it. Stop. What? He does that later in the movie. But he's like, oh, in this part. And Hulk's like, fuck that. He jumps out of there. And then you're like, oh, cool. Now we're going to see him tear apart the city for the next scene. Chat. No, cut. We then fucking cut. And he wakes up in bed. He's in bed. Jennifer Connelly discovers him at his house. And then they eat breakfast. And Jennifer Connelly's like, hey, I talked with my dad, and he's like really concerned about an experiment. They say that the government's going to take it over now because of the accident and because of what happened to you. And he's just fucking eating eggs and sausage, Shaq. Cause he needs his fucking, you know, his calories, Chad. He needs his calories. He's eating eggs and sausage and bacon and toast, get a lot of carbs, muffins, shit, just stuffing his fat face. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm fucking fine. There's nothing wrong with me. But then Glenn, douchebag Glenn, or not douchebag Glenn, but no, Thunderbolt Ross, he shows up at the premises. He knock on the door and he's like, now listen here, Bruce. There was a lot of destruction at your facility, okay? And we caught you on the cameras turning into a giant green monster, and I'm not going to have no goddamn no goddamn green monster, you know, dating my daughter. Won't prove it. You're under house arrest, buckaroo. You're under house arrest. And so he's placed under house arrest at this point. And Jennifer Connelly's like, no, Dad, no. You can't do this. You can't invade my life with this. This is now a government operation. I do whatever I want. And so they leave. And so he's under house arrest, chap. But now Jennifer Connelly's like, there's something. What else I forgot? Before fucking Sam Elliott, he arrives. Jennifer Connelly's like, have you noticed anything weird going on? And Bruce Banner's like, oh yeah, Nick Nolte, the janitor, he's like my dad. He said it was my dad, and he's like, has those 3 dogs, and he's always watching me and following me, and that makes me so mad when I think about my dad. And she goes, huh, okay. The guy that replaced Benny, yeah, the guy that, yeah, killed and or replaced Benny. He probably did both of those fucking things. No goddamn liberal. So he then mentions that, and this is like, this puts a little bit of a worm in Jennifer Connelly's mind, because she's going to go and talk to Nick Nolte, Chad. She wants to find out about what the hell's going on with him. And so she goes to his house, and it just looks like fucking shit. It just looks like it smells just awful, Chad. You're like, Nick Nolte, clean up. I mean, this is the place you would expect him to live in, honestly, based on how he looks in this film. But he's like, oh, yeah, it's like he kind of has a little bit of watching this movie. He kind of acts like Vincent D'Onofrio from Men in Black. You know, sugar. water. That's kind of the vibe of his character. It's like, are you like a cockroach alien underneath this Nick Nolte skin sack, I assume? Like, that's what he kind of looks like and acts like to me in this movie. Just, it's like something's almost always about to... Something's almost about to like burst out of him like Alien, but he always holds it back just enough. He's like, no, I'm in control. Something like that. But he invites her in. There's like newspapers and food and empty beer cans and cigarette butts everywhere, Chad. You can literally smell. You can smell just the smoke in the walls from all the cigarettes and cigars he's smoked in there probably for fucking years. And he sits her down. She's like, what's going on? You're his dad. He's like, let me tell you a story. Ugh. And he goes on about how he was doing an experiment years ago in the fucking Nevada desert or something. The same base that Jennifer Connelly grew up in. And Sam Elliott didn't like him because he was doing nefarious evil shit, taking syringes and injecting, lizard and mold DNA inside of a baby. And apparently Nick Nolte was unaware that it's frowned upon to inject lizard goop and like mold and cacti water into a baby's body. And Sam Elliott's like, stop doing that. And Nick Nolte freaked the fuck out. And he set off a nuclear bomb. He then goes back home to tell his wife that he's been injecting little Bruce Banner, who's like currently like hitting a T-Rex, little stuffed T-Rex against the fucking floor, probably because he's filled with lizard goop and cacti juice and mold. I think that's what would happen to a baby. And he obviously, I've been doing this. She's like, why would you do that? That's horrible. And he fucking smacking her around and everything. And he goes on about how I didn't know. I grabbed the knife, but suddenly it was in my hand. And when she ran out to see my son, she turned to me, pushed herself against me, and the knife slipped from my grasp, and she fell on it. Yeah, sure, she fell on the knife. And the he has this line read where he's like, and the finality of it. The finality of it was inconceivable. It's like, okay. And Jennifer Connelly's just like, whoa, all right. But at least I'm getting something. It's fucking ridiculous, yeah, but we're getting some emotion. And then we fucking see, like, Bruce Banner's mom, who's, like, holding her, like, tummy, like, trying to hold her intestines and tummy inside of her, chat, after she was just stabbed in the gut by Nick Nolte. And she wanders outside and is just hit by a nuclear explosion. Boom. Just all that radiation, chat. Does not help. Whoops, indeed. We then cut to present day, where Jennifer Connelly's like, whoa. And then Nick Nolte, he's like, my son, he wants nothing from me. And he sits down next to her. So few people want things from me. So are you hitting on Jennifer Connelly, Nick Nolte? And he's like, I know that people don't like me. And he grabs, she's like wearing a scarf, and he like that's in her pocket, and he obviously grabs it, and she looks at the scarf that he just stole from her pocket or from her purse. And if I was Jennifer Connelly, like, yeah, I want my scarf back. I saw you and he's not fucking so. He's like, yeah, I didn't steal anything. Anyway, you should get going. I know my son wants nothing to do with me, and neither do you. You got what you want, just like your father. And I'd be like, can I have my scarf back before I leave? But she's like, you know what? I don't want to maybe her whole thing is like, I don't want to set him off more. And so she leaves. And then we cut, it's like later in the evening, and Nick Nolte like walks behind his house, where I guess he's irradiated the dogs at that. Like, he was in a suburban neighborhood. He's not like out in the fucking boonies somewhere. He's not out in the country where it's like isolated. It's like, no, he's literally in suburbia somewhere in Nevada or some California city. And I guess none of his neighbors are aware that he has these giant radioactive dogs, chat. And the reason why he took the scarf is that he wants them to hunt down Jennifer Connelly, then to set off his son's transformation. Now, how he knows Bruce will eventually find Jennifer Connelly is beyond me, because Bruce is under house arrest. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of assuming on Nick Nolte's part. He's just like, well, it's inevitable that he'll go to you because he's the one you love and he doesn't love me, and I want the power, but I'm going to then cause a transformation in which he has to transform, and I'm going to use your... It's like, what the fuck? Where are we? It makes no sense. But that's why he stole the scarf, so then they get her sent, and then he unleashes them, chat. It's like, okay. Eventually, she calls Bruce, I think, and she tells him, like, listen, I know you're under house arrest. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to go to the cabin that we have near the lake in the country or whatever. And it's the thing in the photograph where they spend all their time fucking and writing and everything. And he's like, okay. And then he hangs up, and apparently fucking douchebag Glenn was listening in on the conversation. And douchebag Glenn suddenly is super aggressive, and he's like, fucking Banner, man, why do you tell me about the microwave frog machine giving you superpowers? You know, the Glenster, big old Glenn, friends with, you know, the George W. Bush, my friend, okay? I want me some of that magic green juice inside you. I want that lizard goop. I want that cactus water, all right? Give me it. And he's pushing him and everything. Like, give it to me, man. And Bruce is like, don't push me. You wouldn't like it if you made me angry. And that's it. And then he transforms into the fucking Hulk. And it's like, okay. Really? You wouldn't like me if I'm angry. Are you going to get angry, Eric Banner? And then he transforms, and it was funny because he literally grabs him like Glenn and just throws him, not through the window, through the wall. He throws him through the fucking wall of his house, chat. Bah! Lands up there. And then they're like, oh, here we go. We're going to get finally, the Hulk is going to be fighting the military here, like the SWAT team, and the police officers are going to be shooting at him. He's going to be smashing them all. Nope, he just jumps away. He does fuck up Glenn. He jumps away. And eventually, we cut the Jennifer... Like, there's so little Hulk in this movie. The movie's called The Hulk. we cut the Jennifer Connelly, who's in the cabin, thinking about Bruce and shit. Then she hears this fa-thump. She hears this fa-thump chat. And she goes outside, and she sees these big old fucking footprints and stuff. And she goes over where the footprints are, where she sees the Hulk. He's, like, in the trees and shit. He goes behind the trees, like, well, now, again, if you were anyone, if you were any character in any movie, if you literally just saw a 9 to 10 foot tall, giant, green, muscular man come out of the woods at night, you would go, ah! You would scream your fucking ass off. You would be horrified. But Jennifer Connelly she just stares. She just goes like a fucking dog, which is funny because that's what's going to come out, about to come up here. But she just stares at him, and then Bruce just the Hulk reaches for her and just picks her up and brings her close to his face. And she is doing nothing. She's just like that. Like, I guess she's in shock, but it's like, some emotion, please. But then we hear the ruff. We hear the barking. And the Hulk puts down Jennifer Connelly, chat. And we see across the lake, giant irradiated dogs, chat. So the first action scene that we get is where truly the first action scene in the movie. And again, we're like an hour 15, hour 20 in the movie at this point. We have we got like 60, 70. I mean, it's a long movie. So we got maybe another 60 minutes left. And the first fight we get, chat, is the Hulk fighting a giant radioactive poodle. That's the idea, not the leader, not the Abomination, not the Absorbing Man or any other Hulk enemy. I mean, I'll settle for anybody, chat, but no, fucking a giant poodle. And so he fights the dogs, and he kills them. He kills them all, chat. The poodle dies very quickly. The poodle, that one's out. I mean, everyone talks about the poodle. Poodle is the first one to go. Poodle goes. He kills the Rottweiler, chat. The pit bull is the one that's the toughest. And they're fighting on trees and shit. They're climbing up trees, and they're going for Jennifer Connelly and things. She hides in a truck, and they're going at her. At one point, I think one of the dogs, like, swallows his hand, and he bashes it off. I think maybe that's a Rottweiler. And then the last dog, the pit bull, he grabs onto the Hulk and starts biting his shoulder. But this is where we see the Hulk growing. So as the angrier Hulk gets, bigger the Hulk gets. And that's kind of in the comics, chat. And so because the dog keeps munching on his shoulder, his body is growing until his shoulder grows so big that it snaps the dog's jaw and it dies. That's what happens in that scene. Hulk then wanders off until he collapses, chat, like at the front of the cabin, and he turns back into Bruce Banner. And then Jennifer Connelly just drags him into the cabin, And that's it. That's the scene. Later, it's then later, I guess in the morning, sometime in the morning, early afternoon, he wakes up and he's like, what happened? And she's like, you fought a giant fucking poodle. And he's like, really? That's kind of lame. She goes, yeah, it was. And he's like, but I'm so scared. She's like, don't be scared. Everything's going to be okay. He's like, I understand. I just need to get some air. And he opens the door, chat, and then starts getting hit with all these fucking darts, and he fucking falls flat. And apparently Jennifer Connelly, or was it Jennifer Connelly you called? I forget. Jennifer Connelly, she called the military. She called, her daddy, Thunderbolt Ross. She's like, no goddamn green liberal man is going to be dating my daughter. And so they capture him, chat, and they're going to take him to a secure facility in Comic Sans. Panels within panels. It's very complicated. I think at this point, are we at that really cool section? Not yet. Oh no, we are. So they're taking they take him there, chap. They take him there, and then we cut to probably what is the coolest fucking scene in the movie. Like, I'm not even being facetious. This is really cool. Where Nick Nolte, he's gone back to the facility. It's all under guard, but Nick Nolte apparently, Chad, is a master of stealth. Just like Batman. Nick Nolte is, we saw him do Batman-like things early in the film, chat. He manages to bypass all of the security guards and dogs. I mean, he knows dogs, as we know, and security systems. And then he sets up the microwave frog machine, and he points, like, all the he's got, like, 3. He's like, I won't want just 1. I want 3 microwaves. And he points all the microwaves at himself, chat. And boom, they all fucking hit him at once. And he's like, and then he's like he then takes his hand, he puts it he's holding on like this piece of metal machinery. And suddenly he looks at his hand. And this is really fucking, and it holds up to this day. His hand starts to resemble, it looks like the metal. Like it paints all the way up to his wrist. And then the hand starts fucking going through the metal. And it's like, what? It's a really good shot. Like, I'm like, wow, this is some of the best. Like, there's so much CGI in this film, and it sucks. But right here, it's like, oh, this is horrifying. It's like some body horror happening. And where he manages to get it out of the metal, and then like he ends up cutting his hand, and the blood, it's not like coming down. It kind of becomes this like meaty, pulpy sack, and then it's reabsorbed back into his hand, and it heals, and then his hand starts looking like mold, and then it's a cactus hand, and then he gets like scales and shit. He's like, oh. And he's like, what he is, he's the absorbing man, I guess. They don't call him the absorbing man, but he has the powers of the absorbing man. I thought that was fucking cool. And then we get one of the most horrifying scenes in the movie, where the security guard, who apparently is like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing in here? And he walks over, and Nick Nolte's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm the janitor. I replaced Benny. And Nick Nolte's being fucking slick, because what he does is, Peter Pitcher's thinking 2 biddies, appreciate that. Thank you for the biddies. But he puts his hand onto the side of the machinery and absorbs it inside, and like grips it. And then the security guard approaches him. He sees that Nick Nolte's feet and clothes and shoes have been absorbed into the floor. And he's like, what the fuck? And before he finishes that, Nick Nolte has super strength as well. And he uses one of the giant industrial frog microwaves to then smash, like literally smush this poor fucking security guard who was just doing his job, Jim. And smushes him, chat, like a pancake. And it's like, whoa. And it's cool. Cool concept. I don't know why they made him Hulk's dad. Would Hulk need dad issues, man? Yeah, I guess you understand, Ang Lee, he had daddy issues, okay? And he wanted to put himself in the role of Bruce Banner. And he used Eric Bana as the person to do that, to convey that to the audience. I don't fucking know. No idea. But it's the best scene in the movie. It's Nick Nolte, which helps, but it's a really cool shot, and that fucking security guard gets fucked up. But anyway, after that, it goes downhill. It goes downhill after this. We then cut back to Bruce. They have him in jail, and he's sad. But Jennifer Connelly, she goes to her dad, and she's like, Dad, why do you have him locked up? He saved me. Yeah, from a radiated giant French poodle. And you could tell that Sam Elliott, like, hated saying that line because he enunciates, like, every single syllable. And he's like, let me just talk to him, okay? Yes, because that's what we need in this movie. We need more fucking talking scenes. Okay, and so then we cut, and her and Bruce are walking in the little suburban area that they both grew up in, and they're going on about, like, did you live here? She goes, yeah, I lived here too. Maybe I saw you growing up, but I was too young to know who you were because I was a fucking baby. And then he's like, this is my house. And he goes inside this, ranch house, chap. And he's having all these fucking flashbacks, and, dad and stabs my mom with a knife. Nick Nolte's injecting me with lizard goop and cactus water and mold. And that's not good. That'll make you feel good. And he's like, I remember my mother, brown hair, and how beautiful she was. I'm like, oh my God. And then she's like, it is beautiful, Bruce. What we have is beautiful. We can help you. Maybe you cannot help me. I am a monster now, Jennifer. I was like, all right. And eventually, Thunderbolt Ross, what's kind of cool, though, as they're walking and talking, like, the entire fucking military is just right behind them. Like, hundreds of fucking soldiers and tanks and shit. It's like, the fucking jets are flying, like, Apache helicopters are flying overhead just in case. Eventually they take him back, and she's like, and actually he agrees. He agrees, like, okay, help me. That sounds good. Go ahead and help me. And so they take him back, and they put him inside of a giant back-to-tank from Star Wars. You remember that thing that Luke is floating in after he's attacked by the Wampa, and they put him in there? He's like, he's got, like, that big old diaper on. Same thing. Put him in a giant back-to-tank chat. He's just floating in there. And, Sam Elliott's like, all right, let's do the, no, I'm sorry. Are we at that scene yet? No, because what happens is I think they go back to the base, and they're getting him prepped for the experiment or something, and douchebag Glenn shows up. And douchebag Glenn is really pissed because his body's all fucking broken now. He's got, like, a neck brace on. He's like, I hate you, Bruce, I hate you. And he shocks him with the fucking cattle prod. That either happens after the Jennifer Connelly scene or just before. It doesn't fucking matter. Eventually they put him in the back-to-tank. And he's floating in there, blah, blah, blah. And Sam Elliott and Glenn are like, begin the experiment. And they do it, whatever they're doing. I guess they're trying to reverse the process, get all the frog microwaves out of Eric Bana, chat, which is very hard to do. But, Eric Bana, daddy issues. He starts dreaming about his father murdering his mama and stabbing her in the tummy with a kitchen knife. And he fucking hulks out in there, and he starts destroying the fucking facility, chat. Smashing everything. Eventually, Glenn's like, I got this, General Thunderbolt Ross. Bring the poop foam. And so they have this poop foam, chat. It's basically foam, but it looks like poop. And so it's like these giant, like, poop foam guns. And as the Hulk is, like, moving in the tunnels, they start spraying him with this, and it expands until he's stuck. And he's like, good job, boys. And he has this, like, giant, like, industrial needle that's like a drill. Because he's like, I need me some of that lizard goop, cactus juice, and mold, Bruce. Come here. And the only way to get to it is through your eyeball. And so he's like, I'm like, okay, I'm not this fucking guy. Everyone just starts running. Everyone just fucking starts like, nah, fuck this. This is meant to impede his progress momentarily so he can set up enough next plan. But fucking douchebag Glenn doesn't care. He gets really close to him, and he's about to, like, stab the Hulk in his eyeball, which I do not want to do. And the Hulk starts, like, hulking out more. He starts growing because the angrier Hulk gets, the bigger Hulk gets, until eventually he starts popping out, and he, like, pushes Glenn. Glenn's like, ugh! And then everyone's like, oh, let's get out of here, guys! When they start running. And he's like, you cowards! And then Glenn's like, I wish I could say I didn't want to do this, Bruce, but I do. And he has a grenade launcher, and he fires the fucking grenade at Hulk. But the grenade just bounces off of Hulk's, pectorals, chat, his chesticles, if you will, boop, and it embeds itself in the concrete behind Glenn. And then we get one of the funniest fucking death scenes in the movie where he goes, oh no! Bah! he becomes a comic panel that's blasted forward. With a lot of CGI fire around him. It's so fucking bad. It's awful, chat. The cult then begins to destroy more of the facility. He breaks into the main compound where, Thunderbolt Ross is. He throws something at Thunderbolt Ross's office, and Thunderbolt Ross realizes, like, we're sitting ducks in here. He's going to kill us all. We need to take him out in the open. He's like, show him the light. Show that liberal, jolly green giant the light. And they do, and Hulk escapes. And then we get, like, on the next really, truly big action scene where it's Hulk versus the military. And he fights, legitimately cool shot of where he's fighting tanks and everything. Or he's jumping around and stuff, and he fights a lot of tanks. At one point in the movie, as Hulk is like trying to grab onto this tank, like he's on top of it, the tank, like, it comes loose and Hulk accidentally hits him, like the nozzle, the barrel comes loose and he actually hits himself in the balls. And you literally see the Hulk go, ugh, like that. And it's like, wow, I wouldn't expect it in this movie. But he's tearing apart all these tanks, grabs one, he flings it around, definitely kills all these people, goes, ugh, defeats the tanks, and then starts jumping. Starts running, jumping, chat, until he gets to, like, this nice little vista, nice little water and like, rock formation. One rock looks very phallic, I noticed, chat. I imagine that's representative of daddy issues. The phallus is daddy issues, chat. He's like, I hate the phallus. He really hates the phallus, chat. But then, Apache helicopters start attacking. And, he's running and dodging these copters, chat. But he destroys them. He destroys all the helicopters until eventually he's like, go to San Francisco. And he wants to go to San Francisco real bad, chat. And I guess that's where Jennifer Connelly is or whatever. So he starts hopping and everything, doing his thing. And Thunderbolt Ross is like, fuck this bullshit, okay? He killed douchebag Glenn. He's killed some of my boys. He's destroying military hardware. It's the last thing I want. George W. not going to like this. And so he's like, bring in the F-16s or whatever the fuck they are. The Raptors, I don't know. The fucking, the military jets, the jets, chat. And then we get a scene where the Jets start attacking Hulk and stuff, and Hulk's like, no like. And he jumps on one of the jets, and the pilot's like, what the fuck? And they're, like, fighting near the Golden Gate Bridge at this point. And the Hulk legitimately, like, saves this one guy. He's like, ooh. And Hulk somehow knows to press down on the back of the jet, and that causes it to go fucking down to avoid hitting the Golden Gate Bridge. But eventually, the Hulk, the guy, the pilot's like, I gotta take him up. It's the only way. I gotta freeze him. Gotta freeze his ass. Gets a lack of oxygen. It'll be good. And so the pilot literally goes into outer space. He literally goes in the fucking outer space, chat, and he's like, I'm gonna eject. And he gets sucked off he gets kind of bad, chat. He gets, like, sucked off into outer space where I assume he dies. No oxygen up there, chat. As the Hulk, he falls back to Earth, chat. Boom! And we lost him, boys. We have no idea where the Hulk is, but don't you worry. He's there, chat, because the Hulk also has mole man abilities now, and he is now burrowing through the streets of San Francisco, chat, causing tens of millions of dollars in property damage, just destroying the sewer system, chat, and now the sewer water is mixed with the clean water. It's going to take years to fix everything. Roads destroyed. And eventually, Thunderbolt Ross is like, God damn it, I got to use my daughter to fight the Hulk. And so he uses his daughter as bait, and she just puts her where the Hulk, I guess, is going towards. Hulk bursts out of the fucking ground like a little happy mole, chat, like from Mario or something. Like, yeah, it's me. And then we see Jennifer Connelly's like, it's okay, big boy. Okay, sun's getting pretty low. He's like, really? He actually doesn't say anything. He only speaks one time in the movie, and it's not here. But then we see what happens when he becomes Bruce Banner. A lot of sweat. I guess Aang Lee really wanted to show that because there was so much mass, that water has to go somewhere. It can't stay in the body because the person would explode like a water balloon. So it just drains from Eric Bana. All of that water. It's like, oh my God, that's a lot of, there's literal gallons, buckets of Eric Bana sweat everywhere, chat. His bath water, if you will. But it drains everywhere, and he collapses. And, at this point, Thunderbolt Ross is like, take him to the electric chair. I'm going to go get his dad. And then Thunderbolt Ross, he goes to Nick Nolte's house. And Nick Nolte's being all, because now he's like falling apart at this point, being all really gross. He was already gross, but now he's super gross. And he's like, Nick Nolte, I knew it was you. You're going to come with me. And so they arrest Nick Nolte, and they take Nick Nolte to this compound or whatever, where we see Bruce. He's like hooked up to like this electric, this giant fucking turbine or that's behind him. She had this giant electric generator. And we then like Nick Nolte and Sam Elliott like lock eyes, and looking very stern or gross. And eventually, Nick Nolte he sits down, and we get what is one of the funniest scenes in the fucking movie, because at this point Ailey just said, you know what, Nick Nolte, just do whatever you want at this point. You've been going, you've been gurgling, you've been groaning, you've been moaning the whole time, but just act your ass off, man. Go ahead and do it. Because when Bruce Banner sees his dad, he just starts crying. And he's like, it's fine, son, it's fine. Cry. That's what you should do now. Let it out. Let it out, son. Let it out. And then he goes to like pat his son on the shoulder, on the back. He's like, don't touch me, Dad. I know what you did. You're a murderer. You killed Mom. He's like, your mother killed herself. It was her who fell on the knife. It was her. You weren't there. I mean, you were there, but you were too young to know. And he's like, I remember her brown hair. She smelled of flowers. Desert flowers were her favorite. Oh. And he's like, you're no father of mine. And even if you truly are, I don't want you. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want me. Well, I am your father. Deep in there, you're my son. Not this useless, fleshy exterior. No, my son's inside of you. The one I injected with lizard goop and mold and cactus water. That's my son. And he's like, stop. He's like, stop. Stop! What? And he just goes and sits down, and then we get my favorite moment in the film, other than the absorption scene, where he's like, It's like, okay, we're gonna leave that in. We're gonna leave that in the movie. I love it. And Bruce is just like, I just want to die. I don't want this more. You want to go? You want to go? I'll help you along. I'll go. Those military men out there, them boys in uniform, they're murderers, Bruce. No better than you or me. But we are destined for greater things. We want power. But I'll go if you want to. And then Nick Nolte literally begins to chew the scenery, chat. I'm not joking. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. He's metaphorically chewing the scenery. He's like, no, he is. He picks up a giant fucking industrial-sized wire that's covered in, rubber, bites into it, starts going, and then Sam Elliott's just like, fucking hit it, kill him. Just kill him. He can't be stopped at this point. He can't be stopped. And they hit it, and he's like, and then he starts absorbing all the electricity. And I guess in the California electrical grid, chat. And he's just becoming this giant electricity man. And then Bruce, he starts like, this triggers his transformation at this point. And everyone's like, whoa, military's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. We need to move. And Jennifer Connelly, I think, would be like, holy fucking shit, we need to leave. She's just like looking at him like, huh, what's going on over there? Could not give a shit less. But eventually, Nick Nolte's become this giant, kind of looks like Zap. Or Zap. I think his name is Zap, which is this electricity type enemy that the Hulk often fights. But he grabs the Hulk and he takes him up into the sky, chat, where they battle, where literally Nick Nolte becomes the storm itself, chat. He's gotten so fucking, he's the elements now. He's the power of nature. And you see them crack, and it's so fucking dark. It's kind of, I like that idea of it, but it's so dark, it's hard to see what's happening. And this is where it's a Greek tragedy. It's about gods. And because you literally see at one point the Hulk like reaching out to his father and Nick Nolte like reaching downward, like in the, like, oh, I see what you're doing. Like that fucking Sistine Chapel, like that shit. I get it. I get it. Oh, Lord. But they fight and they're battling and stuff. And you see these flashes of them fighting in the sky. Until eventually they crash into the side of the side of this lake. Nick Nolte starts absorbing all the rocks and everything, becomes this giant rock giant, starts fighting his son. Eventually, Hulk just throws the Nick Nolte's rock body into the water, and then he becomes Hydro Man, basically, and he grabs his son and tries to drown him. He's like, give it to me, son. It's too much for you. Give me the power. And then the Hulk is this point, you want it? You want it? Take it all. That's where the Hulk actually talks. And then Nick Nolte starts absorbing the power, but he gets all the bad memories, and he becomes a giant jellyfish. He becomes a jellyfish, I guess, because he's all the water, he's all the earth, he's electricity at this point, and he's now imbued with daddy issues too. And we see within his giant jellyfish head, like Bruce Banner, like choking the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and we see like him stabbing his fucking wife in the tummy with a knife. All this shit. He's like, it's too much. It's too much. Take it back. Too much power. And eventually Samuel Elliot's like, all right, that's enough. Kill them both. Fire a nuclear weapon at him. And so they launch a nuclear weapon, and it hits Nick Nolte jellyfish. I guess it kills him. And then we cut, and it's I don't know, 6 weeks later. I don't fucking know. 6 weeks later, 6 months later, who gives a shit? And Jennifer Connelly's like working somewhere, but then she gets a call from her dad. And for whatever reason, Thunderbolt Ross is like really broken up about, I didn't want to do it. You know, he might have been a goddamn liberal. He might have been a goddamn giant green monster. But I knew he loved you. It's like, why are you saying all this now? Like, because he's dead and you want to say this now. And he's like, she goes, yeah, Dad, I know. And he goes, listen, if he was alive, you tell us, right? You'd be sure to tell us if he was alive, him or his father. She goes, yeah, totally, yeah, I would totally tell that. And then we cut, and then we're in South America, where we're at like a checkpoint where it's like a medical checkpoint or something for people there, I guess poor villagers, and they're going to get them, they're treated for various diseases and sicknesses and things, parasites maybe. And then I guess the government shows up. It's some country or whatever. Or like these rebels show up and are like, we want all the medicine, the drugs, so we can put all the drugs inside of our tummies. And the person who's in charge of this medical operation is fucking Eric Bana, Bruce Banner. And he's like, these are for the people of this village and the many villagers of this country. They are sick. He's like, we don't give a shit. We want the drugs because we want them to inject in our tummies and or sell them for money. And Bruce Banner is like, you're making me angry. You wouldn't like me if I was angry. And then we pan up, and there's like a little frog on his hat, like sit on his hat, chat. And we realize he is alive, but he's somewhere in the Amazon in South America, chat. And I guess Nick Nolte is a jellyfish somewhere. Or maybe he's dead. I don't know. I like to think that Nick Nolte's a little jellyfish just going blah, blah the whole time. But that, my friends, is Ang Lee's 2003 film, Hulk. What a boring mess of a movie. Honestly, with the exception of a couple of action scenes or the absorbing man scene, and Nick Nolte's over the fucking top performance, chat. Like, it is brilliant anytime he's up there. But I'm like, wow, what an awful movie. Like, I'm really sequel canceled, very much so. I'm fine with good to see you. I'm like, is this a fuck you? I mean, it might be, but the thing is, Nick Nolte is so amusing in the film that I'm like, I really legitimately liked him. And so I don't know if I can give it I don't think I could give it, I give it like a really, really low some old bullshit shit. I think I have to give it a low some old bullshit, but wow, what a fucking waste of time. What a complete misunderstanding of Hulk and his characters and his villains. Weird choices when it came to editing and transitioning and just a boring, banal script. But hey, Nick Nolte, he was fun. I'll give it that. So little some bullshit from each. The real Nick Nolte was saying, hey, this is the real Nick. He's our daddy issues. He became a giant jellyfish. I would have loved it if, like, because Nick Nolte, he read the script, obviously. I would have loved it if he was reading the script and he's like, I become a jellyfish. I would have loved it. I want to be the fly on the wall in his home when he's reading the script and he's like, I'm a jellyfish. the end. That would have been amazing. I want to know that moment when he realized what was going to happen to his character. Oh my Lord. Oh, is that the Incredible Bulks? Oh, is that like the Asylum version of this movie? See, there was moles and bro, it was mold. Yeah, he's injecting all sorts of shit into his son. Like I had mold or like desert plants or whatever. It was a concoction of various substances he put into his son. But yeah, he wanted to use him he was using as a test subject because he wanted power. There you go, chat. 2003's Hulk. The 2003 superhero movie shenanigans will continue, chat, with 2003's Daredevil, which I will review tomorrow. It's better. It's better. It is better than Hulk. It's not boring. It is not boring, chat. It's not boring. Not boring film. And Ben Affleck's not too bad. He's not bad at all, actually. Now, I feel like Hulk has the same villain problems that Venom gets, where all his enemies are just another version of Hulk, or there's a big guy that he hits, other than like the leader and stuff. So use a Thor villain instead. That'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't mind that. Yeah. If you thought Hulk was bad, wait till tomorrow. I don't think Daredevil's as bad as Hulk. I don't think so. I mean, it's not a good movie. Believe me, it's not. There's a lot of weird fucking shit in that film. I was laughing when I saw that scene of him and Bruce going back and forth, and it ends him biting that cable. It was like literally chewing scenery. Yeah, it's shit. It's gonna be fun tomorrow. Definitely gonna be fun tomorrow. That playground fight scene. Oh, I know. That was such a thing in superhero films in the 2000s. Catwoman had the basketball scene, the seesaw scene in Daredevil. Just fucking weird. Cheap. Gotta keep that budget inexpensive, Jim. Inexpensive budget. But guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. And then, because I'm going to come back. The reviews are not done, chat. The reviews are not done. I'm going to be doing a cartoon review, my friends. I'm going to be doing Batman, the Animated Series, Episode 34, Cat Scratch Fever. So I'll be right back, my friends. Stick around.